So this band hasn't really been heard of. I think when they started and did their first album, they actually split up after just doing the one album. But from what I've seen, I do think they've got back together again because their news feeds and sites that they use says they're doing another album. So this band was formed around 2005, I believe, which is surprising, seeing that this album released in 2013. Now, the singer started learning how to sing at the age of 8, which is a pretty good time to start, obviously as young as you possibly can, so 8 is pretty damn good to start training. At the age of 13 or so, he was actually tutored and trained to actually sing. If you go on their main website, it gives you the name of the person who trained him, which is Nando Ferdinands, I think. It is on their main website. You can see the discography of each band member and how they came into music and things, so it is all there for you if you want to look at that yourselves. So yeah, he started at 8, and at 13 or so, he started getting properly trained. He's been in a few rock metal bands apparently, and he released one album with a band prior to this one. And after that, he joined this band by the bass player, who is the person who formed the band. The guitarist also started playing guitar at a relatively young age. He's been in and out of multiple places. There was a small music school where he lived. He went there to learn some things, and he eventually enrolled into special colleges and things like that with music. He has a tutor down as well. He's named a tutor that taught him as well. So I don't know if that's a big name. It may be. So you can look that up. So he's been in classes since he was a little kid. Then he went to actually get qualifications in music, and then he was tutored by some person, which may be a big name. I'm not sure. The bass player, again, he's been training most of his life, thinking I need to do this properly at one point, and then he proper went into it to learn, and he formed this band Hevilan, I'll say. And same with the drummer. They've all basically learned from a very young age, and they've all been trained, and they all have been trained by big names, I guess, because they put it in the biography of them. So I guess it must mean something, their names. So this album and well, the band, it's a metal band. It's not a rock. It's not a rock/metal. It is pure heavy metal. It's probably got some thrash elements because it is a very aggressive album. This album is unbelievably heavy. I'm not one for headbanging. I kind of just like listening to the music and then sit and dissect it and take it apart, see all these intricate parts, play it over and over and over again, and have it wash over me so I can fully grasp and hear everything. I don't miss a thing. It takes a while, but when you keep doing it, you kind of get better at getting these things. But yeah, that's what I usually do, so I don't really sit and headbang. I am all in it for the musicianship, the structures, all of it. I'm not there just to blah blah blah, I'm not really focusing. But basically with Hevilan, because recently I had to wait for something, so I was just playing the music, and I just thought, well, seeing that I'm just waiting, I'm just listening to the music, it's not going to be too long, so just one song I'll just headbang to and just go crazy. I was actually waiting for around 20 minutes, so I was headbanging a bit, and I've thrown my neck is killing me at the minute, because I seriously just went at it, because I just thought it's not going to be too long, so I'm not going to be careful, I'm just really going to go. And this band basically is pure headbang material. You can seriously get into it. It's so heavy, so intense. It can be very fast. It is such a thick, aggressive tone they have. The voice is very good, but he sometimes it sounds like it's being strained, and he's really pushing the aggression and the voice. So it's very powerful. The sound, very, very intense. So if you really like really hard, aggressive, proper, angry music, this will probably cover you. And loads of headbang too. It doesn't really slow. It's very, very intense. Pretty much the whole thing, which will be a downside to a degree, which I'll obviously get into at the end. That's basically it. It's heavy metal. It's bare bone basic, with probably a bit of thrash in there. And the first song, there's no introduction. It just gets into it. The lead guitar is actually doing a lead here. It's bright and nice. Kind of a quick, intricate sounding lead he does. And the backing music, so the rhythm, it's doing them kind of shugs, and then have it breathe, as well as the drums, and then eventually they start adding it more in, and then it starts doing that slow kind of build, and then eventually when they kind of get over that and then probably get into it, you have the lead going even faster, the drums going faster, and the rhythm going faster. And then it eventually opens up, and then the lead kind of just does a bit of a different lead to what he all that was, just to finish it up. And then you get a lead from the bass. There's a lot of leads, so you get a bit of a nifty thing with the bass, because the rest of the music kind of cuts out. It's more kind of fading, so it's all still there, but it's just echoing. So it's just fading while the bass is still doing something at present with the lead. And then it gets into the actual verse. The vocals are very mushy, so are the instruments and everything, so everything is a very, very thick sound, very mushy. It's all very easily understood. So when I say mushy, it's not all difficult and all just mashed together. Everything's still articulate and everything. It's just a really thick sound, basically. But the production, that's the word I was looking for. The production is very, very good. So everything is clear. It's just a very thick, a very aggressive sound. The voice is quite gnarly. It is good. He is proper singing. It's just a very aggressive, gnarly, strained style. Second part of the verse is he opens it up a little bit more. So he does do that. He opens it up, kind of brightens it up, so it's a more natural kind of voice he's doing. And the instruments stop doing the mush. They kind of do the kind of gallops, and then a pause, and then type of gallops. And the chorus has a choir in it, so they have a choir. There's a lot of choir in this album, but we're on about this song. So this song, the chorus has a choir going on. It's a gothic sounding choir, more male orientated. I think there's probably a few females in there, maybe, but it's definitely more male orientated. It's not bright or anything. It's very kind of dark gothic sound. And the singer also does sing over them as well, not joining in with them. I think they may be singing something different. It's hard to tell, because it's kind of hard to understand what the choir is really saying. So he is singing over them. It is something different, because the pacing for the choir, as well as what he's saying, is completely out of pace. The choir sometimes, I think, kind of comes and goes. They are present for the majority of the chorus, but they do kind of stop at times, and the singer goes, and then the choir comes back again. Then it's back to the same style of verse, with the first part and the last part. I think this time the voice gets maybe a bit brighter, so that's the only kind of difference. He takes it a bit more in a more brighter tone. Then it goes back to the typical chorus that they started with, and then it goes to the solo. Now, the guitarist is extremely talented. He's very fast. It sounds like there's two guitarists playing because there's two multiple tones. So there's one tone for about half of the solo, then it turns into another tone, which makes you kind of think, oh, this is the second lead. There is no second lead, it's just the one guy, so I don't know, he just went with another tone, which changes it up. It sounds like you get two different sounding leads, but it's just the one guitarist, which in all respect, I think that's probably best, because you get two different tones. And it's fast, it has its musical elements, it's very intense and technical. It has its kind of more eased moments. It's definitely more technical and aggressive and quick than slow, but he does do it now and then, because I think he knows this is a fast song, it's an aggressive song, so to just completely go with the melody, it's probably going to kind of break that power they're going for. So obviously he can't keep doing it, because a good guitarist should know that just doing it fast or just technical and that is it the whole way. There's not a lot of variety there, it's just the one type of thing, and if you're wanting the solo to be very long, you need to keep changing, you need to keep it engaging and everything, and to do that you need diversity, and it shows the audience all the different techniques and styles and skill you have. So he does do it, but it is definitely kind of bolted to one style thing. He is kind of restricted because of the aggression of this song, but he definitely does do others. So definitely a great solo, very good guitarist. The solo lasts a hefty amount of time too, so I'm not going to complain saying it's just a few seconds or so. It's very long. And then after that, it just goes back to the chorus. The chorus, I don't know if I mentioned, has the lead that the intro was. So the chorus, the lead guitarist is doing the lead sound of the intro. It's a very nice sounding lead as well. It is really good. Shades of War. This is a single. I don't know if it's the first single or not, because I've only just really come across this band. I've listened to this album over and over and over again, which should tell you that it's kind of actually good, because if it wasn't, I would just do it and get this over with. But no, this is a very good album. Shades of War. So there's a music video to this. The music video, there's two singers, so they have a special guest who sings usually the first part of the verse, and then the actual singer will sing the second part. The version is on the album, but it's on a special edition or something near the end. I don't bother with it. I prefer the actual singer to the special guest. Special guest may be a big name somewhere. I've not exactly heard of him. He's a good voice and everything. It's just it's a bit. He's got a brighter tone to him. So I guess you can say it's variety. So I can understand someone will like it, because obviously it is two different voices. So you get two different sounds there, which is good. It's just I like hearing the actual band. I don't like special guests coming in, because it's like, you're not actually part of the band. I want to see what they can do. So yeah. So and also I do prefer this guy. So the actual singer basically. So I just want to see the variety he can do if I were using this person to give a kind of different tone, even though he is kind of singing in the same style. Yeah, basically I'm just saying there's that. So there is two versions out there for you. So if you want two different sound voices, then there's that. And you can get it on the album, but I think it's a deluxe or something like that. And if not, then you can just get the actual singer, which I personally prefer. But I will understand if you prefer that other voice, because it's a more higher register, I would say. So if you prefer that, then by all means you will prefer that. and obviously it does give you two different sounds. So if you're okay with that, that's fine. I would usually be for that, but it's just I just want to see what this singer can do myself personally. Um, so Shades of War starts with the lead singer belting out Shades of War in a kind of high, kind of power metal kind of way. Not to that extent of absolute high ball squeezing style. It's more just the typical heavy metal scream, Shades of War. And then all the guitars are going to their really thick, very, 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 very thick sound, and muddy, galloping all over the place. There's no lead here to kind of give you that bit of brightness. It's just all thick and all aggressive. And then the first verse, the singer's not as gnarly as he is in the first part of the verse in the previous song, Regenesis. It's a bit more open, but it is still kind of locked to the kind of aggressive metal style. And then the second part of the verse, again, I think it does kind of change it up very, very slightly. It's not very big to change, but he does kind of seem to hang on his words a bit more, so they get a bit more kind of a breathing room. And the chorus is just saying the things and just going back to the really fast part. It's I don't really like it. It's nothing special at all. But the second part, because it's not the actual chorus. The proper chorus that comes after that. So you get the verse and the chorus, and then the verse again, and then you get the actual what the chorus is supposed to be, which is much better. It starts with the choir again, so the choir goes, and then it goes into the actual chorus, and the lead singer is doing a more brighter register, holding and pushing that bright high notes out and everything. Sounds a lot better, and is now obviously varied to what he has done previously, as well as the previous song. So that is nice. Solo again, very, very technical and everything, very good. And then it goes back to the chorus, which is not the first one they did, but the actual one with the choir starting it off and then going to the singer doing his more higher register, heavy metal register, not high, like that. And he sounds good. And then it ends. The next song, Minos Call, maybe. Probably one of my favourites, I would say, because so I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Minos Call is probably one of my favourites because it's one of the most varied. I won't say it is the most varied. That might be another song, maybe. Probably kind of hard to tell, but Minos Call is definitely the first diverse one from these first two. But it starts again very, very heavy, very, very fat sounding, very beefy metal, as per usual. Just completely aggressive, loads of aggression and heaviness and things. And then when it gets to the verse, it gets kind of clean, which a bit surprising. So that's obviously great, because they've been so aggressive and fast. It's kind of nice that this song kind of starts like, okay, typical, and then the verse comes and it's like it's kind of a clean sound. I don't know if it's a clean channel or maybe acoustic. I think it's a clean channel more than acoustic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a clean channel. And only the singer's doing a bit more of a more melody style. And every now and then you'll have the rhythm and that come in, and they're proper plugged into the heavy gain channel. So they'll come in and do a few chugs and then kind of fade away while the lead is doing the kind of clean lead. So that's really good. The chorus, it's there's no clean. It's back to the aggressive side. I find it a bit repetitive, the chorus, because they say Mino's call kind of over and over and over again, and there's not much fun to it or great leads at all. He does say Mino's call over and over and over again. There is a few other words in there, but it's not a lot, so it does seem kind of repetitive, not a lot really there. Then it gets back into the verse, and it's nice. And then you get the solo. Obviously, because the song is more opened up, the guitarist also opens it up a bit more and does a more kind of laid back, more musical style. It's still a heavy metal band, so he's still going to be restricted by basically the genre of what his band is. But it is definitely way more melodic and more nicer than the other two. After the solo, there is an awesome tone shift. Incredible. It's the best part of the song, probably. For me personally. Because everything goes extremely clean, like seriously clean. There's nothing but clean. And then the lead singer, it's just, he sings in a more, it's not aggressive, it's more kind of nice. Just beautiful sound. Not unbelievably beautiful, like going to Justin Bieber standards, but it's nice. It's a nice, clean sound with some nice leads, nice and bright, and then he flows on some of them, and then just before they finish, it gets even more low. It does the thing where it's all kind of bright sounding and pierce in a way, slightly piercing because it is that bright tone. But then it kind of fades and it kind of gets really nice and mellow, and then the voice then takes it down and it flows very nicely, and then he raises it at the end, and then they go into the cliche dun 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 dun. So they kind of end the bright part on the kind of cliche kind of thing that you other bands kind of end that on. And then you get back into the dun dun, Mino's call, eternal fire, dun 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 dun, Mino's call, and then it's the same repetitive. But that part, obviously, it was so diverse. There should be more of it, because they do stick with we are very heavy, but we do have a lot of subtle changes. They had the verse, which was different. They have the choirs and everything. They do have tonal changes, but they are all very, very subtle. But there is a lot of changes if you listen out for it. But this one obviously was very, very different, and I just want to see more of it. It was a great sound, and I want to see them do more with that, instead of just a lot of kind of the same thing, but kind of keep it changing kind of little bits. So End of Time. Now I definitely know what the start of this sounds like, which is the chime of a grandmother clock. Now I definitely know this is the case because my mum's dad had a grandmother clock, and when he passed away, it came to us, my mum, and obviously I was around and present with it. So it's a grandmother clock. I don't know if it's on all the other clocks, but I definitely know it's a grandmother clock. It's the sound of 12 o'clock. Well, not 12 o'clock. It's always the like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It's always the big, longer chime. If it's something like quarter past, it's short. If it's half past, it's a bit longer. If it's quarter to, then it's a bit longer. And then when it's the actual o'clock, it's the really, really long, drawn-out one. So that's the sound it starts off with. When it's done with its chiming, it's back into the heavy aggression again. But it's when it gets to the verse, it's a lot more open in sounds compared to the Shades of War and what was the first one? Regenesis. It's not clean or anything like Minos Call, whatever that is. It's heavy and thick and fast, like Shades of War and Regenesis. But the lead singer, it's a lot more open in sound and nicer. Not that Shades of War and everything I'm saying is not nice, like it's bad. It's good. It's just it was more of an aggressive sound instead of a nice, easy sound. There's definitely more of a flow because of it, because the singer it's more open, therefore there's a flow to the voice along with all the aggression. So it's aggressive with the nice sound of the voice, which is nice. But the chorus, it's pretty bad. The chorus is just the end of time, the end of time, the end of time. Obviously the time, it's welcome instead of just the end of time again. But again, that's very, very repetitive. It's not good. Like that's obvious. It's easy. You don't repeat something like that over and over and over again in a chorus when the chorus is supposed to be the very catchy, memorable part. It's memorable because it's just the end of time, the end of time, the end of time. Like, that's easily rememberable because there's nothing else. But I think you've missed what it means. Like, yeah, it's supposed to be memorable and catchy, but it's supposed to be kind of fun, not just very boring, kind of dull. I think there is a bit before they keep going the end of time, the end of time. So I think there is more to the chorus. I've forgotten a bit. But I think the choir kind of comes back and everything. So there is a bit more to it. And as I said, the verse is definitely better and more open than Shades of War and Regenesis, which is a very aggressive style. Desire of Destruction is the other single and music video. So this is it as far as singles and music videos go. This one is very bass heavy. Like, the bass is so loud in this song. It's not like all the other songs, because obviously I would know. So just for some reason in this song, the bass is just turned unbelievably high. For some reason, don't know why. It just is. So it's going, and the guitars are going, but there's the bomb, 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 and it's got that really fat bass sound. Eventually it kind of all cuts out, and then you get the vocals coming in, which he's doing a very strained hold on each individual word. So it's fire in the sky, and then he holds on to sky, but he's kind of holding it and pushing, and then he goes on to the next line, and then the last word of that, he holds on to it again and pushes, and then he goes on to the next line, does it exactly the same, holds the last word, and really kind of pushes the sound, and the music kind of stops out when he says it, and then kind of when he's holding the note, you get a few instrument plays, but other than that, it's all cut out while he does it. It's a bit awkward to me, but I think it's just kind of showing the kind of power he has, just hold, because it sounds really strained and what he's doing, and then pushing it out. So I don't know if it's basically for showmanship of the voice, which is kind of where it all kind of cuts out while he's really, straining it. It seems a bit kind of awkward, I think, but again, it's different to the rest. The subtle changes, and then the really thick bass sounds. And the chorus, the desire for destruction, it's all very deep and heavy, and then the bass makes it incredibly deep. Sanctum Imperium could be classed as one of maybe the most diverse song on the album. So if you want to listen to Hevilan and get as much lay as possible, then probably Sanctum Imperium is going to be the most kind of layers you see from the band in one song. Is this one? You get the choir in there a fair bit, doing some main singing and everything, and a bit more female orientated as well. This choir, still very gothic in sound. You get a verse which is the typical aggressive and everything, but obviously the singer's more open. On this half of the album, he's definitely more open. And then when it gets to the chorus, you get the choir part, and then when you get to the singer, his vocal delivery is really, really good here, because it's there's kind of an effect on his voice. I don't really know what it is, but it kind of gives it a bit of an echo, maybe a bit of an echo, makes it sound like he's kind of saying it in a hall. There's definitely a lot of tension in the delivery of it, but it sounds big and it sounds open, the way he's delivering it, and the effect, I think there is an effect on it, because it sounds like the effect is there the first time round, and then every other time he does this chorus and sings this part, it doesn't sound as big, because it seems the effect, they turned it off. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm not hearing it correctly, because it's quite subtle, but you can kind of hear there is kind of something there giving it a bit more oomph. And then the next time, it's still a great delivery, but it doesn't sound like it's as big, because the effect is making it sound like he's projecting it in a big open room or something like that. But it's unbelievable. I really like hearing him sing that part, which I'll say the line if any of you hear it. It's in the age of God, and so basically when it starts there, that's what I'm talking about, and it sounds unbelievable. It sounds very powerful, very intense. The delivery he does with it, and it's very big and open. The second verse is different from the first verse as well, so there's that other diversity there. So you've had the choir, and there's more females present, and the singer with the kind of effect on the voice, and then the first verse is all heavy and everything. The second verse, it goes kind of clean sounding, with clean channels of guitars for about half of the second verse. It's kind of like that. And then the voice kind of comes down to match that sound and everything, so it's very more of a bright, easy, laid-back tone he takes. And then halfway through that, it starts building back up to what it was previously. And then you get the solo, a very, very long solo, very intense and everything, and musical in certain parts, and goes on, and then multiple tones. And after that, there's another change of sound, because I would explain it as kind of sounding Iron Maiden-ish. It's just the singer kind of sounds like he's delivering it kind of in a Bruce Dickinson type of style. It kind of also sounds a tiny bit like him. I don't know if it's Maiden or if I'm thinking, or if I've got the wrong band, but I think it's Iron Maiden I'm thinking of, and he kind of sounds like he's singing like Bruce, and in the way he delivers his lines. So yeah, there's also that, which again is amazing, and it's one of these parts like in Minnow's Call, that very clean part where it gets really nice, and then they slowly get it, take it even further down to very, very relaxed. This Iron Maiden part, They should do more of it because obviously it's a very new style of singing and new tones. And just like the first part of that, the verse, so the second verse, that first part where it was clean, they should open that up again because it's always aggressive. And they give you these subtle little things, and it's like it's so good and it's so interesting and intriguing and so well done that it really makes you just want more. It's a bit irritating in a way, but I don't know if that's the point that you want to be left with more. It's just like, God, that was so good because it gives you so little and it's so great. That could be it. I'm not sure. Dark Throne of Babylon. Again, a very, very, very good track. There's another great vocal delivery at a certain part in the song. I did remember the line, but I've gone and forgot it now because I did listen to this beforehand. But there is a certain line which I think is delivered very, very, very well. Just with how the instruments are going and the singing, and I just think it sounds pretty big and pretty awesome. Oh, the poison in your veins. There's a bit of screams in this as well, kind of growls. Yeah, it's coming to me now. So when the verse kind of starts, the lead singer is in the dark front of Babylon. So when in the dark, it's all cut out, so it's just him, and then the rest of the instruments come in, and it's all kind of chugging gallop type of things. And he's singing along. It's clean, not strained at all, like he does or anything. It's all very normal style, sounding good. And then it gets a bit more kind of bouncy to a degree, and then it gets to the poison in your veins, which just sounds like he really pushes the delivery, and it just sounds awesome just how he delivers it. It's nothing, ginormous. It's done so well. The way he does it and the way he says it and presents it, it just sounds great in the midst of everything else. So it just makes it really, really good. But then after that you get a few growls. Obviously it's not really present in the album, growls, but it's so little, but I still don't really like it. It would be better if they just didn't do it. I think the song would benefit without it, personally. So next song, the Son of Messiah. The chorus to this one is very, very, very catchy. It's a fantastic chorus. I think this song, it's they think about it as it's kind of near the end. This is their last heavy song, so they go on out on a more kind of catchy note and more musical sounding instead of all the kind of aggression. So the chorus, it flows really nicely. It all flows great. It's really nice sounding. And then the last song, Loneliness, is the only melodic. So the entire album is all massive aggression, and then the last song is where we get an actual melodic. Now, this could basically be because it's always intense, and then they leave the melodic for the end to just kind of ease you out of it and then calm everything down. Now, some people may say that's fine. Other people may think that the song Loneliness, the melodic, should be in the middle of the album to break up all the intensity. So you get all the intensity, then it calms it down, then it ends on an intense song instead of ending on a melodic. Then it's just, you lose all that energy. Some people may think you should lose all the energy and then just calm everything down, or they want to end on something extremely aggressive where it's like wow, and they're all powered. And therefore the melodic song should be in the middle of the album. So then you get all the aggression, then it kind of cuts it out. So then you take a bit of a break, and then you get back to the aggressive, and then end. So I'm not entirely sure if Loneliness should be at the end or if it should be in the middle. I'm not too sure. But Son of Messiah ends with the sound of thunder and the lightning, and then it plays into Loneliness. It's kind of like the album Screaming Fire with Say Goodnight. The track Say Goodnight starts with thunder and lightning, and it sounds very much like the end of Son of Messiah and the start of Loneliness. That's basically the sound, just thunder and lightning. And it's all clean, as I say, it's all melodic. It lasts for a while, so there is a few changes in shifts in the way it flows and everything. Not really tone, the tone kind of stays the same. So tone-wise, it's the same, but they can change the pace and the positioning of where they are on the neck of the guitar to give you a more kind of brighter sound or maybe a more deeper sound. But the tones they have going is all kind of in the same place. Obviously this is going to be the most melodic solo because it's a melodic song. It'd be weird for him to then start going blitzing. So this is a very different style of solo and everything. Again, extremely good, nice and long, and the vocal performance, obviously you get a very subtle singing style from this person who has been kind of really going at it in the previous songs. So it's a very different side of, well, everyone actually in this song. And it's a really big change, and with the amount of aggression you've been getting, it's very, very calming and relaxing to end on. So that is basically it for Hevilan with the album The End of Time. So what I have to say basically in wrapping up is it's a very good album. It's very, very, very heavy. It's very, very technical. The guitar work is amazing. The singing is amazing. But it's not the best. Because I can hear potential. And if I can hear potential, I know they can do better. And the potential, you've probably figured it out. Because I have been hinting to it quite heavily. The song Minnow's Call. After that solo, there was an unbelievable change and it sounded awesome. And then when they started taking it down and everything, that was awesome. And I really want to see more of a style of that, because that would be extremely varied if there was a song that was all kind of like that. Obviously with a bit more to it than just that one sound the whole time. But obviously just extend it. So then that becomes the majority of a song. Then you get a bit of heaviness like in Regenesis, but it's only a bit of that instead of just all kind of Regenesis with bits of the kind of pulled back elements. And then Sanctum Imperium, that Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson style thing they did. There should be more of that. And then Son of Messiah, the chorus of that was extremely catchy and musical. It would be good if they did more of that. So they have potential to be quite varied, because obviously I've seen the singer sing very, very nice and melodic. I've seen them do really, 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 really good cleans. And I've seen them do kind of the Bruce Dickinson style, so very, very open and rich singing vocals. I've seen them do the aggressive side. I've seen solos where it is more musical, because it is a lot heavily orientated shred and techniques instead of more kind of laid back and musical, but there are elements, so it'd be good to expand on that too. So it's because of that, the album is varied, because obviously I've heard all of these things. It's just not played to as much as it should technically be. It should have been broader than what it actually is, because all these differences, and obviously the choirs and everything, and then using the chime of grandmother clock, they clearly have variety to do cleans, soaring vocals, Bruce Dickinson style vocals, heavily aggressive style vocals, normal vocals, very catchy musical sounding vocals, melodic solos, musical solos, technical solos, then bringing choirs in and then other sounds, and then changing through the songs as well. Because things with Shades of War and Regenesis, there's not a lot of changes. Minnow's Call has multiple changes. And then Sanctum Imperium, there is a lot of variety. You have the intro, then you have the verse, and then you have the choir coming, then you have the lead singer doing the ending of the chorus. Then the verse changes to a melodic, then it goes back to the original sounding verse. And then when the singer comes in, it's the same thing but without the effect. It's very subtle, but it is, again, another difference. Then you get the solo, then you get the Bruce Dickinson style of thing. So obviously a hell of a lot of layers. And then you get Desire of Destruction, which doesn't have as much layers. So they have potential to have a lot of multiple sounds and a lot of multiple styles and techniques and things, and to have multiple layers in one song. So I'm hearing a lot of greatness in this album, but as this album stands, it would probably be an 8. It's a very, very good album. It's incredibly solid. It's not 9 because it's not anything of a masterpiece 10. It's not 9. It's not absolute great or anything, because obviously it is all kind of one very, very heavy, thick sounding album. But it has such good vocals. It does have changes, and a lot of them, and a lot of variety, even though it is extremely subtle. And they have great musicianship and guitars, the bass, because we've had the lead bass in the first song, and the kind of bass taking the front and centre in Desire of Destruction. I think there was a few other songs where the bass may have took a bit of a lead as well. I'm sure there is. It's hard because there is one song which I can't tell if it's the bass or the blooming guitar. It was quite difficult, and I still don't have a clue. But yeah, it could be the bass again. So yeah, so 8. Well, it is an incredible album, but it is basically just very good, because they have obviously room to grow in order to become a 9 or even a 10 if they really actually play to all these things. So yeah, a very, very, very strong 8, I would say. And I definitely recommend this, because it's a very, very good album, and I've listened to this over and over and over and over again, and it is a lot of fun, and it is really, really good. And as I said, apparently they are in the studio, so hopefully we will see another album from them and see where it goes, and if so, I will cover it as soon as it drops. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked this one, and I've hopefully shown you another band, because these people do deserve support, so I really want to see what they can do with more of the support behind them to do something a bit bigger. So yeah, and from me, I would like to say, if you like the video, leave a like. If you want to see more from me, then please subscribe. If you dislike, I am all open for that, because if there is a problem that I could work on, then I would really like to know. So if you dislike, I would appreciate if you also left a comment to say why that was the case, so then I can improve, because I would like to. So that'll be it from me. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.